Welcome to World Cinema Review. This is your host, Frank DeVamp, and we're continuing and analyzing the franchise with a new installment today. We're going to talk about the Child's Play franchise. And the subject of killer dolls is not new. I think back in the 60s, the Twilight Zone featured, I want to say Talking Tina, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Very creepy killer doll. I remember in the 70s we have the movie Magic with Anthony Hopkins. You know, the ventriloquist dolls who are freaking creepy and still creep me out to this day. Because, it's, and we have you guys can type in on YouTube and check out the 10 creepiest dolls. And I don't know why, but, not, I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So we have some designs of dolls throughout that either appear too lifelike or just too creepy. And if I own those toys, I would pretty much piss my pants. And we're gonna talk about a story about a killer doll, but it didn't kind of start that way. But it's still one of the coolest franchises and coolest movies I ever seen. I really, really enjoy this franchise, and I'm gonna tell you why. So hanging, so let's dive into what it is. The first Child's Play. Um, we have this written and directed by the awesome Tom Holland, and we have the awesome will always forever be Chucky, and I hope he doesn't ever get replaced until until he's no longer with us, right? But Brad Dourif to me is Chucky, and we're going to talk about how fantastic portrayal of the role is here. And we have the really cool child actor Alex Vincent. We have Catherine Hicks as Andy's mom, and we have the very awesome Chris Sarandon as Detective Norris here, and we all remember Chris from the awesome Friday Night, and he right here he just nails it, man, as the cop that's chasing after Chucky here. So we're gonna talk about the plot here first before I tell you my thoughts. So I think this is the best way I can describe it. Um, you know, there's we know we're very familiar to when if we remember when we were back at children being a child, especially in this age of commercialism, right? Mm, maybe even maybe even when back in the 80s, if you grew up in the 70s or the 80s like me, you would understand that at that now there's a huge ass overwhelming variety of toys, but there's always the toy to get, right? But it's not as bad as before, because I guess the amount was limited, or I don't know how to explain it. But we had the Tickle Me Elmo dolls and all that craze, and the Cabbage Patch craze and all that stuff, where when you saw that toy you wanted that toy, and your mom, your dad showed up and without that toy you were gonna freaking give him hell. You're gonna cry and kick until they'll give it to you. If you were fortunate enough to have parents that could afford them, because at that point, because when toys were hot, they usually went up in price, and it was tough. Well, you know how it goes. So we have little Andy, and little Andy's so adorable little kid. I mean, greatly casted. And this adorable little kid, lives with single mom there, and Karen, loves her kid and wants to spoil him, and he's so sweet. He makes I think he's 6 years old or something like that, and then he's trying to make breakfast in bed for his mom, and it's totally messy and ruins everything, of course. but he's trying. He loves her, and he's saying, "Hey, you know what? I need my toy." And then she confesses that unfortunately, I mean, she shows the toy. She buys a little bit of accessories for the toy he wants, which is a good guy doll. And this good guy doll, well, we'll talk about it later. About where the signs and all that stuff that it came about. But the good guy doll, it's basically this doll that just it's we've seen many of them, and well, I guess it's a good time to talk about it. The good guy dolls. I mean, there's conflicting stories from many of the writers and director producer. Some say that it was strictly from a Cabbage Patch doll. Some say that My Body dolls were the ones using the design. I totally see My Body dolls. It's just my opinion, but damn, I mean this. And I remember I saw that freaking commercial back in the '80s, and I was scared of buying that shit. Well, it was a little past my time. I was a young teen then, but even if I was like 8 or something, I wouldn't want that shit. It was too creepy because it resembled, and I'm not sure if Chucky ruined that toy because nobody wanted to buy it. They think this is a murderous dolls, and maybe Poltergeist with that clown doll started all that. It's a doll hating craze, but you know, I'm rambling. But the point is that Andy loves this toy, which it's just this doll that it's an animatronic doll that has like recognition of like there's a proximity object, like there's a human being, and of course there's the phone. I'll be right back. So I'm back. Apologies. Yeah, well, basically, the doll recognizes there's somebody nearby and then talks to it. Says like three different things. Kind of nice and cute. For kids to play with, especially kids, who are only childs and only children, and they don't have any siblings. And then that they can get pretty lonely, or if they have older siblings that go to school and they stay home, and it's totally the idea is totally real. Like you get it from, I mean, and it's totally believable that you will have this doll at home, and it's so cool that the dog can talk, even if it's only a few phrases. And yeah, and he wants this toy so badly, but her mom confesses to him that that she didn't save enough money, for the doll. So and it's the dude's birthday, and the little dude, Andy, just a little bit bummed out, right? Maybe more than a little bit. So we cut back to this story where Detective Norris is chasing, real life Brad Dourif, right? The Lakeshore Strangler, I believe. And so this Lakeshore Strangler, um, it's basically fleeing, and it's in a bad spot, and gets left behind by his getaway other criminals that is helping him out, and he got him cornered at a toy store, and there's a shootout, and and then Brad Dourif gets badly wounded, and then he's dying, but he happens to be near this doll and decides to do a voodoo ritual. And this ritual, it basically transfers his soul into the doll, and then lightning strikes, and uh, he passes away. So Detective Norris kind of closes the case. Says, okay, dude, dude is done. Is killed. So that's nothing else to do but paperwork now, right? So we go back to. So unfortunately, by the way, there's some spoilers on this, so I'm gonna talk totally about this movie. So if you haven't seen this movie, turn this video off, and we'll come back to it once after you watch it and tell me what you think. So, um, as bad luck will have it, a peddler, um, happens to run by this destroyed toy store and picks up a toy, picks up the good guy doll where um, you know Brad Dourif transfer his soul into, and as bad luck will have it, Karen and his mom, finds out about it, and basically um, she she purchases the doll from the peddler, and it's really bad because of course Andy loves the doll so much, and but doesn't know that inside this doll Chucky, you know it's a serial killer soul, and that wants to take over the boy's body in order to be alive again, kind of a transfer vessel of his soul, and of course this is a real mess because no one believes no one believes Andy after he finds out that the doll, and then Chucky becomes to be a real mischievous murderous doll, begins to do his shenanigans, and no one believes, and then even when Karen believes, and the detective Norris doesn't believe. So yeah, it's really well done. One of the things that I read is that originally they wanted to have you guessing whether, and drag it out perhaps a little longer, what if Andy was the real killer and he just blamed the doll for it, and it kind of works in the beginning of the movie. You just don't know. I think it's close to 45 minutes. I think that we finally see Chucky in action, and it's kind of creepy, to know that they could have manipulated this way. But I'm glad they didn't, because I don't think we have enough killer doll movies that are really good. Um, by the way, on the descriptions, I leave the my review of the movie Dolls, which I think is the best killer doll movie ever, and there's a whole bunch of them. So check it out if you like. So coming back to this movie, why is it so great? Why is Child's Play so awesome? Um, First of all, there goes the phone again. First of all, there's the fact that we have um, a subject matter that's really creepy. Like I said, dolls. It's something. I mean, there's people who have actual fear of dolls because I think these horror movies have implanted that fear in you, and it's a really creepy subject matter because they're like real, they're like lifelike things that shouldn't be moving, and they don't resemble humans that much, except they're really creepy sometimes. And yeah, that works. The child in peril, that's another thing that I think that this thing really gets you. Like lately I've been doing a few entries from contests, and the I've been talking how heart crushing it is to see when a child dies, such as in the movie The Mist, or Pet Cemetery. I mean, it's really, a child in peril totally works as you really dive into the movie. Um, of course, the acting of everybody here is awesome. Like, there's a special mention for Andy. I mean, um, the child actor really, I mean, really sells it to me. I really see his softness, his cuteness, his childlike innocence completely shattered by Chucky, and this poor character gets fucked over by Chucky real bad. I mean, and this is just the beginning of film one, and we'll find out on the next part how bad the extent of Chucky's curse is. No pun intended for another Chucky movie that we'll get to later, but yeah, I mean, it's a real unfortunate twist because really, Andy really never did anything to deserve this, and the aftermath of this is really horrible, really traumatic, especially for a child. Um, Karen, the mom, I mean, really, really sells it. I mean, she's ready to defend her son no matter what with her own life. I mean, she's a good mom. She's doing everything she can, raising Andy as a single mom, and man, I totally buy it. Um, of course, the Detective Norris. I mean, Chris Sarandon. I mean, hey, he's such a great actor. Like I said, I love him in Fright Night, and he, I mean, he really sells this tough cop attitude, and really fine job. But of course, the best is Chucky. Brad Dourif. I mean, he really. I mean, I like him seeing in live action, and I see him a lot of his movies, and a lot of his movies are horror movies. He's a damn good actor. I mean, he's totally underrated. People say, "Oh, well, he's Chucky." Ooh, Chucky. No, he's a great actor, man. You can see him in many movies. In Rob Zombie's Halloween. Even if you didn't like the movie, you gotta like Brad Dourif acting. Man, he's great as a sheriff, and he and everything he does, man. He's in the Lord of the Ring movies. He's on so many cool roles that it's really really special the way he brings the fear. Um, Especially, I like film one here because in film one he's totally serious. He doesn't joke around much. There's a few puns, but I mean he's totally maniacal bastard that wants to murder a child to take over his body pretty much, and that's as evil as they come, and he's really ruthless with his business partners and associates. And yeah, the other thing that I think is a supernatural aspect. Some people really believe in voodoo. By the way, voodoo, uh, it's an acceptable religion in some nations. Voodoo, Santeria, and other types forms of witchcraft. I guess the Western equivalent will be a Wicca religion, which is a nature believes in nature according to some of the Wiccan practitioners, but voodoo practitioners, I mean, they've been spreading fear and of their religion for hundreds of thousands. I want to say hundreds of years at least. I don't know much about the origins, but I do know that it's pretty strong. I had people that I heard from people that have been to Haiti that it's still very much present, and you don't have to go that far away. You can go to New Orleans and see some bona fide voodoo. So yeah, and that's really creepy, knowing that these rituals actually exist. Um, the putting on pins on people, which is used in this film as well, and the breaking of the legs and the arms with these voodoo dolls, and yeah, I mean it's totally something that totally exists, and that accent even puts a bigger creep factor on the film. Um, Chucky himself, not Brad Dourif, but the actual doll, has a combination. I want to say that he has, well, definitely I've seen the animatronics. There's also a little guy in a suit, um, and there's I want to say some live action. I mean some stop motion. I'm sorry, stop motion animation as well. Maybe a little, and it's really really creepy the way it's done. I mean you won't if that looked fake, you wouldn't buy any of this, and that looks awesome. The special effects are all practical. They do work. I was watching this film for. I just watched it yesterday, and it's still creepy, man. Still creepy. Still really solid. It's still one of my favorites, and this film, it's totally cool. Um, I actually, after watching it for this probably I don't know how many times, 20th. I don't. I want to say I finally noticed that this is nitpicking, totally nitpicking, but I saw an error. There's an error on the film. There's towards the end of the movie where they're trying to stop Andy to be sacrificed. I mean, not sacrifice. I'm sorry, the complete the ritual to take over his body. And they walk in, and then Detective Norris, um, is the first one to go look for him, and then gets slashed in the leg and by Chucky, and then gives Karen a 38. I'm gonna say it's I can't. I'm not great with guns, or I can't. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think it's a 38 or Glock type gun, which she uses against Chucky, and she fires on him. Uh, but then the gun gets jammed, and she can't fire anymore. Meanwhile, Detective Nori has what I think is a 357 Magnum. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, doesn't look like a Magnum 44 like Dirty Harry would be too big, so it looks like a 357. So he, the thing is that towards the end, after Chucky gets burned in the chimney, uh, and she is seen with the 357 Magnum shooting at Chucky, but we don't get a scene where um, Detective Norris hands her the gun. And the thing about it is that she's running away and she doesn't use it earlier, you know, because she tosses the 357 first, and then there's some things that happen, and then they burn Chucky on the fireplace, and then after it comes out, all charred, burnt Chucky, trying to stab them, she starts shooting them with a 357, and there's no, there's actually not a moment. There's a moment where she tends to him, and she says, "Oh, go, go get go in the medicine cabinet. We're gonna tend to Detective Norris' injury." But there's not a moment where he goes and hangs the gun. So that's kind of a hole, and it's kind of doesn't explain. And if she had the gun after running away, when she's finally see she starts to run away, why don't you stand up to him and shoot him right away? That's kind of but that's a nitpick. It's probably a continuity error done by editing, and it takes nothing from the movie. But you know what? The good thing is that this movie is so good. I had noticed that all these times that I've been able to, see it for yourself. Watch it. But like I said, this doesn't take away from the movie. This movie's rating is a solid A. Yes, people, we get an A, and this is a fantastic movie. Started the franchise very strong. Uh, Made a bunch of sequels, which we're gonna talk about. Yay! So I'm gonna rewatch all the films and tell you so I can get a fresh perspective. So I feel one. So stay tuned to very soon. I'm gonna talk about film number two. And yeah, man, fantastic movie. Everything about it, I really enjoy. Very scary. So I guess leave your comments if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Go ahead and subscribe, please, 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 please. I love subscribers. Thank you so much for people who be sticking around with me, and I really enjoy the fact that talking horror with you guys. Like I said to Todd, all things nerd, as I said to him, dude, he says he can totally relate to me that I can talk horror 24/7. I love horror, and yeah, and you horror community, I love you guys. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe once again, and well, friends, this is the end. See you next time.